Hey everybody, it's Steve Garvin, and I am joined by Yael, the Universe Whisperer Johnson, and we are talking about, of all things, the Heart Notes anthology. Yael, thank you for contributing your Heart Note to the anthology, and you shared Dear Money with us. Can you tell us about your experience with that?
Sure. In my Heart Note, a lot of what I was talking about was that I had finally made peace with it myself. And for me, I think the biggest challenge for me was sharing that energy with another, and the merging energies, taking on another's energy. So once I made peace with it, then I'm taking it on. And then I have to learn how to keep my energy separated from, where things are not aligned, that kind of stuff. So that's basically the gist of where I was coming from on that.
Sure. That's a really interesting point that you had made peace with money yourself. So internally, right, you're feeling good about, right, where you are.
Right. I finally aligned my own energy.
Yeah.
I finally aligned my own energy. And then it took some figuring out on how to protect that energy in times that it needs it.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate the idea of, not only being energetically good with money ourselves, but also how does that show up in our relationship with others, with our spouse, right, or, our clients, or, whatever that may look like.
Right.
How do we?
It's important. The important thing is to, whoever you're sharing that energy with, the important thing is to leave space for them to be who they are, because it's their energy. It's not, you may be walking the same path, in parts of your life, or in all parts of your life, whatever the case may be. But it's important to leave space for and accept where the other person is. And remind yourself that that's not necessarily, that you are two separate entities. You're walking together, but you are two separate entities.
Yeah. So you don't have to have really, leakage
that's
with
the crucial part.
Energy kind of, right, crossing boundaries and so forth.
Right. I think too often we forget to protect that. We forget to protect that, and we allow, in trying to make other people happy, and basically in being externally focused, and trying to make other people happy, and doing what we think other people expect from us, all that kind of stuff, which all boils down to being externally focused. It all boils down to that. When you can be more internally focused and be more conscious of your own energy, is when you can hold on to the alignment.
Yes. Yeah. That's excellent. So along the lines of what I was thinking about just this morning is, we can, kind of be followers where we're following our spouse or clients or whatever the market, right, along, or we can be leaders where we are helping people to move into a more positive direction. And then I think, honestly, it probably goes both ways where, right, we both lead and follow.
Yes. Yeah. In a partnership, that's the way it goes. There's always going to be some influence. It's a matter of staying conscious of how the influence is affecting you.
Yeah.
So, there's qualities, there are people you admire, what you admire about someone, you want to follow them in that, because if you see their success and you want to follow suit and you want to learn from their example, so you want to follow them in that. But if someone is struggling with something, if someone is struggling and you end up following them too closely to try to protect them, or like we often do with our kids, for example, you follow them so close, and you want to protect them, and you want to, save them from learning certain lessons that were very painful when you learned them. And you want to protect them, but that's not going to work. You have to give them the space to learn, to learn the lessons that, hopefully they won't, suffer as much as we did when we learned the same lessons, and we can guide them through, and help them deal with the emotions as they, because that's what it all boils down to.
Yeah.
So you want to, yes, I agree. As far as the following and leading, it's, when you're walking down the path, you're walking side by side. Sometimes someone walks a little faster, someone slows down a little bit, whatever the case is.
Right.
And sometimes one may be like, oh, I'm so tired. And then you carry them for a little bit, just for a little bit though. Right. Only as much as you can handle. But when you get tired, I can't carry you anymore. You gotta get up and walk on your own.
Or we both just need to stop and catch our breath.
Right, exactly. So the key is, like I said, being internally focused is to keep the closest eye on your own energy, your own alignment.
Yeah.
If they're exhausted and you've still got energy going, then cool. Use up some of that energy, pick them up and carry them a little bit.
Right.
But if they're exhausted and then you become exhausted too, then yeah, both of you just take a break, relax for a bit.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful. Well, thank you, Yael, for your contribution to the Heart Notes Anthology. I'm wondering if it's
an honor to be in it.
Well, thank you. I'm wondering if you had any ahas while you were writing your Dear Money letter.
Well, actually, when we were reading it earlier today, the part that we were talking about, the thank you for in parentheses, I put, I was always so nice to you. And that actually helped me put it into perspective in my own head. As far as like working on, it's just like working on a relationship with another person. It's the same, it's money. I can look at money as another person. I was always so nice to you, just like historically speaking, in relationships that I was in, for a long time, I was the one, I always felt like I put in more work into relationships than whoever my partner was. And whether they were trying but couldn't quite get it, or whether they gave up trying, or whatever the case was, we just weren't aligned. So that part made me realize that I was always so nice to you. That part means that eventually it turned into, I felt like a doormat.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's not that alignment that you're talking about.
Exactly. So that was my aha moment, as far as looking at it as just like it's another person. It's just like talking to another person, dealing with another person. I basically personify almost every aspect of my life. So I've written letters to money, written letters to my emotions, my past self, my future self, loved ones that I've lost, friends that I no longer talk to. I've written letters to almost everybody. I personify
a totally new experience for you. This is something that you've done regularly.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that's why when the opportunity came up, I jumped at it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's awesome. So. And for those of you who are watching, don't forget that you also have your opportunity to, at the end of the book, there is space for you to write your own heart note and see what comes out of that. So, yes. Well, thank you so much, Yael.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate the follow-up, Steve.
Absolutely.